Hello coffee lovers, my name is Meneer and I'm going to talk about something exciting today. The brand new Sage Barista Express Impress. Now if you don't know Sage yet, Sage is an Australian manufacturer of household appliances and they are specialised in coffee. Chances are actually pretty big that you may have already seen one of their espresso machines somewhere. In this video, I'm going to talk about their brand new model, the Sage Barista Express Impress, which is actually based upon one of their most popular models, the Sage Barista Express. You can actually see there's a lot of similarity between the two models. So the right hand side is basically a copy of the Barista Express. You have the same three buttons over here, you have that manual steam wand, there's a portafilter with a double spout, the pressure gauge to check upon your espresso extraction, and there's the built-in grinder on top of the machine. Now the biggest difference between the two models is actually right underneath that grinder, and that is the Impress puck system. Now what this system does, it will help you to consistently produce the same amount of coffee every time, and after that temp it in a consistent way over and over and over again. The machine takes about 30 seconds to heat up thanks to the built-in thermocol, and you can switch the machine on or off with the button on the right hand side. The machine also has an auto switch off mode. Then next to the on-off button, you'll find two buttons that you can use to produce your espresso. So there's a single dose button and a double dose button, and you can manually program those if you hold them for a couple of seconds, and then they'll start blinking, and then you can manually program the volume of water that you want to run through the coffee. Then on the left hand side, that's where the grinder bit is located. It's got a 250 gram bean hopper that you can manually close and take off the machine just like every other Sage machine with a built-in grinder. But before you start brewing any coffee, first you take out the portafilter and dry it with a clean and dry cloth. And while you're doing that, you may as well check whether you're using the single or the double filter basket, and that's important to know once you start grinding the coffee. So this button which says filter is used to select either a single or a double dose of coffee. Now I like double espressos, so I'm going to go with the double filter basket. When you put your portafilter inside the grinder, this button which says dose will light up. You press this button to start grinding your coffee. And once the grinder stops grinding, this arrow over here will light up. And this means that you have to temp your coffee. And over here you can see whether you've actually used the right amount of coffee. If you're going to press the lever, it actually says us that we're not using enough coffee. So we're going to press the dose button again. Let's try one more time. There we go. Once we hit the green bar with the smiley, it means, according to the system, we've got the right amount of coffee. And you can still manually control your dose. So you can do that by switching from auto to manual by pressing this little knob over here. And then you can manually select the amount of coffee. Now I've pressed it once. I'm going to temp it one more time because with this system that gives you the ideal puck. There we go. Now before we start brewing, we're going to flush the brew pad, and then we're going to place the portafilter inside. Now this espresso was running a bit too fast for me, so I'm going to change the grind setting, which you can do on your left hand side of the machine. Take out a portafilter, dry it again with a dedicated cloth, place the portafilter into the grinder and press the dose button. Our temping light starts blinking again. And now it actually says us that we don't have enough coffee, so it wants us to top up the coffee dose a bit. So we press dose again, temp it, there's our green bar again, and now it will remember the correct amount of coffee when we're going to brew coffee after this one. Temp it for the second time, flush our brew pad, place our portafilter in there, and press the double espresso button. Now the reason why you have to reprogram the amount of coffee is because if you grind your coffee coarser or finer, it will take up more or less space in your filter basket. There we go. Perfect double espresso. So each Barista Express Impress comes with this tool, and this is to get rid of any excess coffee. So we're going to place it in the coffee, scrape off the excess coffee. And we can easily let it fall off. Temper one more time, and then we've got our green bar. Now let's brew a flat white. So we're going to use a double espresso for that. So we take out our portafilter, empty it in a nut box, dry it with a dry and clean cloth, grind our coffee, and in the meanwhile I can already purge my brew pad. Tamp our coffee, place it in a brew pad, and start brewing our double espresso. And while my espresso is running, I can already fill up my milk jug. So the amount of milk or plant-based drink that you're using has to be somewhere between the bottom of the spout and more or less a centimeter underneath the spout. So it's conveniently indicated on the side of the jug with a max and a minimum level. So we need to fill our jug. And then because this machine has a thermocoil, we can't steam the milk while your espresso is running. So first we need to raise the temperature in the thermocoil, and we're doing that by the button on the right hand side. So we can switch this to the water mode, which is all the way to the back, and hot water will come out over here. Or if we switch it to the front, that's when we'll start raising that temperature and start producing steam. So we'll switch it to the front, and initially you'll see some water coming out, so now the thermocoil is heating up. Make sure that you've got a consistent flow of steam coming out of there before you start steaming. Which is more or less now. I'm going to switch it off and place it immediately inside my jug. And I'm going to keep it at the surface of my drink, about a centimeter of the edge. And I want to create a vortex inside of the drink. I'm keeping it at the surface until it's about 36 degrees, and then I'm making sure that I'm not pushing it too much air anymore, because that will create big bubbles, and we want to have bubbles that are barely visible by the human eye, is what we call microfoam. And usually once you can't hold that anymore with one finger, that's when it's more or less 70 degrees Celsius, and that's the temperature where you need to stop. For cow milk or for plant-based, you're going to stop it slightly sooner, around 60-65 degrees Celsius. We're maintaining this vortex even if the steam one is already underneath the surface. Stop the steam. Now first thing you do is clean the steam wand and purge it to prevent it from bugging. Now we've got a perfect microfoam over here, so we're going to swirl it around so it's nice and glossy. You can even stir your espresso a bit So it breaks the crema, and that's when we start pouring our flat white. There we go. Perfect flat white. So let me give you some specs. The Sage Barista Express Impress has a 250 gram bean hopper. It has a 2 liter water reservoir with a built-in water filter to ensure the right water quality for both your equipment and your coffee flavor. You can remove the drip tray, and then behind the drip tray there's a little storage drawer for all your coffee tools that you don't want to lose. For example, your blind filter, your extra filter basket, your cleaning accessories, things that you would usually throw somewhere in a drawer and then suddenly they get lost. It's nice and conveniently stored in the back of the machine. It has an automatic cleaning function. You have 2 programmable buttons to brew your espressos, and if you hold the buttons you can manually brew your espressos. The front of the Impress box system comes off, and then if you press it down you can easily clean the tamper if necessary. So I hope this video answered all of your questions regarding the Sage Barista Express Impress. If you do have any more questions about this machine, any other Sage machine, or anything that has to do with coffee, feel free to drop a comment below. Thank you for watching and stay caffeinated.